Hi, friends. We're going to go ahead and get started. We have a lot of amazing stuff for today's webinar, so we're going to go ahead and jump into it. I am Michael Fisher. I'm the host of this month's webinar. Thanks for joining us. For those of you who may be new to our monthly show and tell, welcome. This is just a chance for some of our team to come together for an hour of conversation and inspiration. Your only job as attendees is just to sit back and relax and be inspired. You don't need to write down any links. We'll share everything with you later this week, along with the recording of today's webinar. If you are searching for any previous month's show and tells, you can find them on our YouTube channel by searching for Fashion Snoops, or if you're a client, you can find them on our own website. So with that said, let's just do a few housekeeping things. Hope you love our new branding, by the way. Thanks to Justine on our graphics team for giving the show and tell images a bit of a freshening up. We'd love to hear what you guys are loving as we go through the show and tell. So please do use your chat box. Just be sure to select everyone so that both attendees and panelists can see your comments or your questions. So I'm going to turn it over to Kara from our sales team to go over some upcoming events with the FS team. Hi, Kara.
Hi, everyone. I just wanted to give you an update on some upcoming FS events. For all of our clients, please make sure to join us the week of April 22nd for our Fall Winter 25-26 Color Week. Webinars will be taking place Monday through Wednesday. You can log into the FS Trend platform to find out more information and register for each event. But if you're not an FS client, don't worry, because we also have an upcoming Spring Summer 26 Must-Have Color webinar that is open to all. That'll be taking place on Thursday, April 25th, and I'll provide the link to register in the chat in a few moments.
Great, thanks. Color Week is one of our most popular webinar series of events every single season, so we're really excited for that. All right, bear with me for a second. I'm going to break down to our events, our links. Give me a second. We have a beautiful new form here, and we're actually going to open with Lily just to talk about some exciting things the team did last month here in New York. Hey, Lily.
Hi, everyone. So good to be with you. So oh my God, it feels like yesterday. Was it last month already that I was in New York?
Yeah, I think so.
This trip to New York was obviously connecting with the team and meeting some of our great clients, but also we did our first experimental color event, and my dear friend Gigi, who's on this call, we will meet later in the of this webinar, who's also on our sales team, helped me lead it. The experiential color event, and the reason for it was that I wanted to get a sense of what would happen if we tuned into ourselves and then questioned color. You know, you guys know that we're experts in color, and as Michael said, we're leading into our Color Week. And we do a lot of work around selecting the right colors every season, knowing how to update them, building great palettes. But the question was, is there more tuning in that could be done into our creative vessel, the vessel of us, the creators and creatives that come together? What can we tune in better? What tools can we use that tune our listening and our viewing, not only from our eyes, but also from our internal sensory of our bodies? And we're in this deep exploration now with the team of how to really unleash human creativity at this moment of the AI reality coming into our awareness, and what does it mean for our creators, and how do we tap more into ourselves? And you guys know that I've been passionate about this topic for a long time. So the experiment was first with our team, and we'll run a little clip that Clarence put together of just the moments that we captured first, and then I'll say a little more. Michael, let's do that first.
You got it.
so little sneak peek, it was several hours of the different modalities that work for me and for Gigi, obviously. Sound is an amazing medicine for me. It's been my way shower through any uncertainty. Sound, somatic practices, getting ourselves into the physical body, feeling more. A lot of toning that we did as well. And then we ran color videos, which were really triggering in emotions and sensory. And then we put the team to work on, getting into groups and questioning color and color palettes. And then everyone got to share. And of course, if we had more time on this call, we would, share some experiences. But what I perceived from how the team was sharing about colors, that I actually felt a dynamic change between the thinking mind and the feeling body. So a lot of the shares came from memories or things that triggered an emotion from childhood, or accessing back to emotions that made us feel a certain way and how it connected to color. So for me, I think the experiment proved, what I was trying to prove is, can we dive deeper into ourselves and from there find deeper answers? Of course, put it together with knowledge and research, but how do we tune more into ourselves to get some of the intuition that's built into our unique form of who each of the team members are, and how do we combine that and add that to the layers of color research and knowing that we already put into form and in our report. So we're gonna create more events like this for our audience. If you're interested in creating something like this for your team to trigger more creativity, to unleash more intuition, to just excite your team more into how do we do it slightly different than the way things are normally done, then contact us. You could reach out to me directly, and we'd love to build it for your team as well, or explore it together with you. And one more share, in the continuous conversation of how do we unplug ourselves or unlock our potential. This has been my medicine. Beyond sound, this has been my second medicine. Dance has been truly what I turn to unclog anything that's stuck in me. And in the past, 6-7 months of this really difficult time that the world is going through, I've been turning to dance, and I'm not the only one. It's a phenomenon that's really growing. And I wanted to share about it because I encourage any one of you, and ecstatic dance, exists in almost every city, every country. You just need to Google ecstatic dance and you'll find it in the location as close to you as possible. I know that for me, it started with 5 Rhythm in New York when I was there, and of course by Gabrielle Roth, who was a genius, who really talked about how, she wrote an amazing book called Maps to Ecstasy, and this unlocking of our tension and how dance is the vehicle for that. And ecstatic dance is similar. You could run a little bit, Michael, but it's a documentary I found online. I didn't even watch it all the way through. I just wanted something that gives a taste. You could run it a little bit, like a tiny little clip, just to get a sense of
Sorry, I'm not logged into whatever this is, so I'm gonna have to keep it small because it won't let me.
That's okay. I think I get the sense of it.
Right.
So I want to say just quickly a few things why I think it's working. And this article talks about how it's like healing, it's an effective therapy. We wrote a lot about dance in our past reports. We had a whole, design aesthetic that we focused on it. And the way I feel it is that, I think in today's reality, we are so concerned with how we look on the outside that we forget how it feels on the inside, and we pay less attention to our internal dynamic, and we pay a lot of attention on, how we're perceived and how people see us. And that kind of exiting out of ourselves, keeps us from really being truly expressing who we are. So ecstatic dance, whether you come for, it's a 2-hour run, it's an amazing DJ, and every single person there is coming to release whatever needs to be released inside of them. There's less judgment. No one's really looking at you. Lots of people wear blindfolds. It's time where you get to drop into yourself and really feel who you are inside. And doing that in company with others who are committed to the same thing. And in there, what I'm noticing, first of all, it's growing like crazy from when I started going to, it's like full rooms of people. And this release is not only needed, but it gives us an ability to, gives us a space to really practice our individuality, who we are against this rhythm, against this music, in company with others. And lots more to say about individuality. I know we ran a clip for you a few weeks ago of, really this place of uniqueness that I think not only all, humanity is going into, but I think we're going to be dealing more and more with in regards to consumers really tapping into personally who they are and how do we start speaking to them as they separate from this collective sameness that we've kind of been bulking them into. And I'm observing these spaces of dance and expression where people are uniquely expressing who they are, and the differentiation between people that show up there is palatable. You could tell that there's so many different expressions of the human that is here, and I love that for what it makes available for all of us, but also as a place to really kind of witness and experience and see how people express their individuality in a collective space. So check it out. More and more to say about, my sense of that we're entering a moment of individuality for humanity. And we're going to be exploring more and more on how do we as brands who are used to kind of the collective or putting people in these boxes of sameness, how do we educate ourselves of, tapping into who we are as brands, as creators, as creatives, and express from there. And there's so many tools, sound, dance, somatic practices, so much more to explore that we'll be bringing forth. I'm out of breath and I probably wanted to say 50 things, but I'm watching my time because there's so many great links. Thanks, Michael. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, thanks, Lily. And I just want to echo something that Vicky put in the chat box, which I love so much. And that's about how it's important to really sit with color and not to make it a knee-jerk reaction. And color is so emotional. And so she really appreciates this methodology that we how we approach color at FS. It's very different from other agencies, that's for sure. So
Totally. Color is something you have to feel first, and if we don't feel it when we choose it, then we lose the point.
yeah. Well, in keeping with emotion, but other parts of it, we're gonna today we have links from the materials and pattern and graphics teams as well as content strategy, but they're all kind of weaving in and out of a certain theme. So I'm actually going to turn it over to Nia, who's our director of material and surface innovation, and she can start off the conversation for today. Hey, Nia.
Hey, awesome. Thank you so much, Michael. As Michael mentioned, I'm Nia Silva, the materials director at FS, and I'm based in Los Angeles. I'm super excited for this month's show and tell because I'm also joined by the lovely Lisa and Beck from our pattern and graphics teams, as well as some other amazing colleagues like Michael from Men's and the content strategy as well. But before we start, you'll notice that there's a bit of a thread, like Michael mentioned, throughout that myself and some of my other colleagues will be sharing today. And this thread has more of a natural footing. So that's actually in honor of Earth Month, which is this month, as well as Earth Day, which is soon approaching on Monday, the 22nd. And after doing some research, I found that Earth Month and Earth Day is actually observed by over 193 countries. So definitely a big deal under the umbrella of environmental protection and sustainability. And we wanted to make sure that we added a bit of that flavor and focus to this month's show and tell. So without further ado, I'll kick it off with some really great sustainable design links that I found super inspiring. The first that Michael opened here, called the Downless Down Jacket, which converts infrared light to heat. So this is a concept I came across when doing some research for a team consulting project. And as you can see here, it's actually a puffer jacket concept that's not only made without insulation, it's also completely see-through. So the project is made by the company Metal Mining Co., and they collaborated with the design consultant Droga 5 Tokyo and a fashion designer Kotsuke Tsutsumara to create the jacket as a way of demonstrating the innovative potential of using infrared heat for warming as opposed to insulation. So the jacket features this particle within its structure that can capture and convert infrared heat into warmth. So honestly, the more we continue to amplify products that are lower impact for the environment, like this solution, we're really looking towards innovations that can harness the Earth's natural energy for performance benefits. And I honestly feel like that will continue to become an even bigger conversation. So a really great one to check out for active, but just honestly for materials innovation in general. I love this one. Moving on to the next topic. This touches on the huge topic of next gen materials. And this is a recent product release from the contemporary brand Gani and the material startup BioPuff. And they recently joined forces to transform Gani's signature bag using this bio-based faux fur. It's actually derived from nettle fibers, hemp fibers, and flax fibers. And what I found super inspiring by this collab was that it offers this really cool kind of tactile feel and this fresh spectrum of colors. But the material actually boasts a 90% reduction in emissions compared to, let's say, a generic fur footprint. So for those who are inspired to maybe make some changes on an ethical front for sustainability and really favoring animal-free products, this is a really great example of that. And then just in general, definitely two brands to watch out for. Gani always does so much when it comes to next gen materials. They've done products with mycelium leathers. They've also used materials derived from banana waste fibers. So there's definitely a lot, if you're a client that's, in line with that thinking. We have some material shifts. Specifically, I'm thinking of one, our Planet Positive shift. And we've been tracking that over the years. So definitely one to touch up on if you're a client as well. So I love this one. Can move on to the next.
I don't remember ever talking about banana waste before in any of your things.
Oh my
So
gosh. Yeah, definitely check out Planet Positive. It's a material shift that we've done, but I actually have another link later on that I'll touch on with banana. So a great segue. So moving on to this one, this is a great one that came up in research through an advisory project that myself and some of our team is actually currently working on. And I wasn't aware of it. So maybe some of you in the audience are aware. But I found it so fascinating. So I wanted to share. Michael, if you want, you can kind of click through the areas of the site as I'm speaking. But as we know, many brands come into the market with this idea to grow and hopefully find lasting success. But this brand called Benham Denim really stood for the exact opposite of that. And they actually emerged with the aim of shutting it all down as soon as possible. So this was founded by Hassim Mohammed and Noha Bram, and it was launched in 2022, but I think they closed down in 2023. But in general, marked a new journey for the life cycle of fashion. So this is the first startup designed and structured to shut down. Simply, their business model was once all of this denim material was gone, the company was going to shut down. So really integrating this concept of sustainable business practices and instead looking at how permanence as a business can be something that actually conflicts with sustainable theories and goals. The goal is to kind of keep things moving in this circular fashion, not to have things lasting on the planet forever. So I'm curious to see if other brands will adopt this framework. It's very kind of innovative. We've seen brands tap into dead stock fabrics and waste, but it's always temporary. It's always a capsule collection or something that's fleeting. But having it be at the core of this business model, I thought was super fascinating and perhaps something that future brands could adopt, kind of thinking in the short term, what's things, something that's more natural or using waste and not, having this super longevity mindset that can be really harmful for the environment. And considering we have so much kind of heading already in that direction, I think there's a chance for brands maybe moving in the opposite direction to really stand out and capture new audiences. So I love, love, love this concept. I'm not sure if you guys are aware, but if not, something to check out from the founders. What will they come up with next? Are they going to create a new brand with some more dead stock fabric or natural fabrics and then shut it down? Who knows? But I just loved this idea. I thought it was really inspiring.
I love the idea of adding a sustainability layer to limited edition. Usually when we hear limited edition, it's a lot of fast fashion stuff that loses its buzz as soon as it's dropped. And this is completely antithesis of that. So really cool.
Absolutely. Love that. So next I have 2 links from our teammate Medic on our Thai team. He couldn't join today since it's super late in Thailand, but he still wanted to share. So I'm going to speak through some notes that he gave me. This first link is from Upside, and it's actually a Thai startup company who focuses on reducing fruit waste by upcycling them into these branded Upside materials. And just touching back on that banana focus that Michael mentioned. So this company actually focuses on bananas. I didn't know, but they mentioned that there is 323 banana species in Thailand, which is fascinating, having that many bananas. But they collect the most sustainable ones for their material making. They, kind of look towards ones that have the best structure, density, shape, and color, and they turn these into yarns, into leathers, as you're seeing here, all from the leftover banana waste. They also create, leathers from pineapple, coconut, and lime, which I thought was also really beautiful. And they source these all from local farmers and canned fruit factories. So a beautiful startup. I love their Instagram, but then just in general, an amazing concept and one to check out. I think, definitely have to keep our eye on some of these startups, based in Thailand. There's so much natural, waste in some of these tropical places. So I love seeing more of these brands pop up.
Super cool.
I love that one. And then the last one that he included here is a graduation product from Garen Welly. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. And it's called Greener Pastures, for Greener Pastures. And this project provides a framework for a circular leather recycling infrastructure. So currently there are 249 million tons of leather waste in landfills or that are just burned every year. So this student wanted to develop an effective leather recycling alternative by combining biological glue hide and shredded leather waste that they collected into this sustainable alternative. I love that, as you can see here, the visual is very striking visually, but it's also sustainable. So I love this kind of composited look. I think we're seeing so much with compositing from plastic. So to see it with a natural material is also very beautiful and very inventive.
So textural, like it mimics like a precious stone or something.
Yeah.
Really, really beautiful. I was kind of struck by how much color and texture that you get from the composite.
Love it. So with that, done for materials, but I'll pass it over to the pattern and graphics team to share.
Thanks, Nia. Hey, Lisa.
Thanks.
Hi. Thank you, Nia. As always, amazing innovation from you and materials team. So my name is Lisa McCandless. I'm the Director of Pattern and Graphics. So my first link here, if you could just hover on the first image, please, Michael. Sorry to be bossy. Okay, so my first image is a restaurant called Bar Car. So the reason I wanted to share it is because just the design of this restaurant, it really embodies the beauty of nature. It really celebrates nature whilst also looking at ancient techniques and rituals, which I know is something that is a big conversation at the moment at FS. A lot, and if you're a client of ours, you'll be seeing that in a lot of our recent and upcoming design aesthetics. So this particular restaurant was designed by architectural studio Spaceman. The restaurant is in Kuala Lumpur, and the design was made to resemble the earth ovens historically used to cook and smoke food in the ground. So if you scroll to the next page, the next image, please, you'll see the entryway to the restaurant. So you'll see this like immersive hallway, which has this kind of like mirror edge to create this infinite space. And also the firewood on the side there is actually used in the kitchen. So it's like replenished over time. And then you can just scroll through the rest of the images to see the interiors of the restaurant. It's just insanely gorgeous. You'll see these like terracotta stucco walls. They're designed to evoke ancient cooking pits. Everything is very curvaceous, kind of designed in these curved-like manners to resemble kind of being placed in a cave. That mesh sculpture there above the table is to represent fire. Everything has been locally sourced. Everything is made from natural materials. You've got these gorgeous slate floorings. The color palette is obviously all very organic and natural, and everything is really made to evoke the sense of like primordial cooking and preparation. One of the reasons I loved it also so much is that dichotomy of the image of the restaurant. Like it feels kind of like very raw and organic and kind of effortless, but then at the same time feels very indulgent and decadent. And it also equally feels quite like prehistoric, old, ancient, but also feels futuristic and new and exciting. So just super gorgeous. And then the second link next to that is just the Instagram account I wanted to share by the architectural firm. We don't have to spend much time on this, but it's just they really work on some really beautiful projects. They do a lot of like futuristic, spacey vibes that kind of lends itself a little bit to like a lot of the AI architecture we're seeing. Like it does, you do question if a lot of this is real. And they also do a lot of biophilic design as well. So certainly an architectural firm to keep an eye on.
So beautiful. I love that, you know, as people who seek inspiration for our profession, that we never know if it's real or not anymore.
Yeah.
But I love how you describe the dichotomy of it. Super inspiring.
Yeah, I was like, does this feel old? Does this feel new? It's a bit of both. I'm not sure.
No, I love it.
Okay, so next up is this Instagram account that I randomly stumbled upon. Well, I guess she originates on TikTok, but I'm not a TikToker. So her handle is Silly Art Stuff. I think the only thing silly is how long I spend on her account. So it should come with a bit of a disclaimer, me showing you this, because you will get a little bit addicted. What you're seeing is kind of what she does. So she creates these, what she calls floral paintings, but they're kind of like sculptures at the same time. So she paints them using acrylic, and she kind of does it like a baker with like piping, and each floral is made with a different process. And if you follow all of her videos, you'll see all of the different ways she creates all of the different petals, and she has all of these different techniques and styles. And sometimes she includes embellishment, embroidery, beading, but often it is just the raw acrylic. And just like the color that she creates, this like glossy image. You can click on her account maybe and just kind of flick through some of the other videos. Yeah, it's just the time she spends on these, for one, is mind-blowing to me. And what I really loved is she says that she always starts these, I think these pieces are maybe more planned out, but like the bigger ones, the round ones that we were just seeing, those she kind of like just works on as she goes along. So it's very much like a trust in the process. Let's see what's going to happen. Let's see what floor I want to do next. Like she doesn't go in there necessarily with like a clear plan. So I think some of her older stuff is more simplistic, but I think the newer stuff is where like the excitement for me comes in. And yeah, I just found it another connection to like the AI, in that a lot of her newer stuff, it feels very like hyper realistic. Like you question if it could be a floral that's maybe like glazed in something to like a resin or something. But the fact that it's made with acrylic and she makes it look so incredibly delicate and beautiful is just mind-blowing to me.
Oh my God, imagine if you could get her to decorate a cake for you, what she could do. I mean, it looks like a cake.
It does. It really does look like a cake. Yeah. I mean, even just having a piece of her floral on my wall, I'd certainly go for that.
Wow. I feel like it's too bad that Dries Van Noten is retiring. I feel like she would be an amazing artist to collaborate with. He's done similar things with like that one season with the guy that made the beautiful rug with all the flowers. Like this would be so cool for like a Dries collection. That's what it reminded me of.
Yeah, so stunning. It's just great to watch an artist in process.
Right.
Okay, next up. So ironically on this one, you can mute poor David Attenborough and you can listen to my voice instead. You can just have this up as a visual. Okay, so this isn't anything new. It's been out for like over a month, and he's actually coming out with a new documentary called Mammals. But The Secret World of Sound, I only just recently watched it, so I wanted to share it because it just blew my mind. And we're talking about Earth Month, and so I thought it it was apt, and obviously it ties in very nicely to what Lily was saying with the importance of sound, and it's certainly a hot topic internally with us at the moment, appreciating sound. And with this documentary, obviously we don't only normally focus on the sounds, and I think what's compelling is not just the sounds that we would automatically think of, like the mating calls and like trying to find prey, but it's also the animals listening to their environment and listening out for weather and reading off of each other. It's incredible. If you haven't watched it, please do. Although when I was reading some reviews on this, one thing really made me laugh. They said, like, what is the one sound we associate with nature? And that is actually like David Attenborough's voice, which is very true. And here I am muting him, so you listen to me.
No, it's good. I will say we have an almost 4-year-old, and we watched some of this 2 weekends ago, and I probably took more from it than even he did, just because just the way of learning how the natural kingdom communicates with each other, I found fascinating. And I can't wait to watch more.
I feel like we could have had a whole show and tell based off of this documentary, honestly. Okay, so a few pointers I just want to note. It might be a bit of a spoiler, but these are the ones that blew my mind. So lions roaring at sunrise. So it's quite a typical image, like you've got like a dusty, frosty scene with lions roaring to start their day. So the reason they do roar at sunrise is because cold air is trapped near the ground. So it's denser than warm air. So the sound is able to travel much further, which is why they do it at that time. So the sound can actually travel for 5 miles. So these lions are like declaring ownership of their pride and telling other prides, back off, this is our space. But like, it just blows my mind with nature. Nature's crazy, nature's amazing. Like, how do lions know to do this? How do they know this is the time to do it? It's beautiful.
It's so great.
It's crazy. And then also there's bumblebees. You can tell like I'm really excited because I'm starting to speak quicker.
Tell us more.
There's also little bumblebees. There's certain flowers where the pollen in the anther is like really stuck in there and they can't get in there in the normal way. So they have to vibrate and make this noise around the petals to open up the tightly petaled flowers. So they buzz around the petals to release the pollen. And the sound they make is compared to the frequency of a musical note D, to any musicians out there. But what's even crazier is that these bees can fine tune their buzz to work with different types of florals. And that, again, blows my mind, and that they can figure that out. Yeah. It's
amazing.
Yeah, I have other facts, but I'll let you watch the documentary yourself and not ruin it.
Yeah, everyone watch it. Yeah, it's good.
Okay, so finally, I can't take credit for the first FSer to share this. This actually, Rachel, the director of Active, shared this during our pitch day. And so I thought it was very apt to share this. So this Earth FM is kind of like the new updated version of Rain FM, if anyone's familiar. So this enables you to travel to different parts of the world and listen to different sounds from those places. So whether you want to listen to a waterfall in Iceland or be in the forest in Sweden, you can just, transport yourself hearing local bird call. So I've definitely had it on in my living room in grey old England. Sometimes this really perks me up. So I would certainly recommend this as well.
I will tell you, anyone out there that needs to research or write, like a lot of our team members do, there's been a few times where I've actually, since Rachel used this in pitch day, I've actually used it in the background for those times versus music, which is what most of us do. It is music in its own form, but I do find that it's really a great catalyst for any time that you need to be creative or focus. I think you guys will really love it.
Yeah, that's so true. I normally listen to
the favorite at FS right now. Yeah, a lot of people, everyone's using this. So.
Yeah, I normally listen to classical music to like creatively write, but I have switched to this as well. Yeah.
Yeah. It's really good.
Thank you. I think I'll hand over to the lovely Beck now.
Hey, Beck.
Hi, thank you, Lisa. So my name's Beck. I work with Lisa on the Pattern and Graphics team as an editor. And I've got a few things to share today. The first 2 artists are around the theme of finding the beauty in decay. So if you wouldn't mind going to just the top navigation in the right-hand corner, and then under categories where it says index, it should take us to a nice big page full of all of this artist's work. Marcin Rusak is the artist. So feel free to click on whichever works take your fancy so we can have a closer look at them, and I'll have a talk over them. So Rusak creates artwork and products from discarded plants and flowers in various stages of decay. Specialising in the spectrum between preservation and decomposition, his works range from durable and timeless to intended degradation. As the son and grandson of flower growers, Rusak has long been fascinated by natural resources of inspiration and decoration. Engaging them in his creative process began by reusing waste to investigate new decorative elements within everyday objects. His work highlights the properties of these natural materials, a philosophy based on an exploration of the ephemeral from preservation to decay. Sourcing from flower growers, private gardeners, and donations from weddings, large events, and regular garden maintenance, the studio has built up a vast library of floral material, including a large variety of botanic species organised by their sculptural qualities and colours. And then a quote from Rusak reads, "We find value in the imperfections of the fading plants and encourage others to recognise beauty in transition and flux. Rather than denying the flow of time, we make the inevitable expected, visible, and wanted." And I just think that's such a beautiful philosophy to have. It's very easy to appreciate nature when it's sort of in full bloom and all the colours are vibrant, but to use those natural materials in artworks and products where we can sort of celebrate the cyclical nature of the system of life is it's very unique.
Very nice. I love how in one of the notes that it's just really all about renewal and decay, which is kind of what the changing of seasons that we're all going through right now is all about.
Lovely textures and colours just incidentally as well.
Yes, so good.
So this next artist is Tegan White. And I think the best thing to do is if you click on work, it will probably on the top navigation, it'll probably take you to a more, so you can click on any of these and it will enlarge them. So Tegan White, I wanted to take this opportunity to share, she's actually my favourite artist of all time. Much like Rusak and his use of decaying flowers, Tegan's works often depict death and a reverence for the cyclical nature of life. Describing themselves as an outsider naturalist from the Midwest, their work arises from direct experience with natural phenomena and dedicated communication with the land. Each piece is imbued with deeper educational and symbolic layers that explore ecological issues such as drought, wildfire, habitat fragmentation, and biodiversity loss. Bleak only at surface level, their work creates an awareness of the natural world that most of us are disconnected from in our day-to-day lives. Each piece is saturated with the conviction that other more beautiful ways of engaging with the world are possible, and that environmental solutions can be found through humanity's return to devoted and loving relationships with the land. Tegan's work is also beautiful from a purely visual standpoint, with a stylistic blend of realism and surreality, perfectly balanced compositions, and limited colour palettes that add a sophisticated and melancholy quality. And if I had lots and lots of money to spare, I would buy every single original piece. I just think they're gorgeous.
It's so beautiful. The colors are just stunning. They're so delicate yet so impactful with what he's showing.
Yeah, it's the muted tones for me. Being able to limit a palette like that is quite clever.
Wow. Imagine having a new child in nursery. These would be so great frames.
Oh, it'd be wonderful, wouldn't it? All the neutral tones as well.
Yeah.
Is anyone else questioning what noises those animals all make?
Oh, yes, of course. I'd love to know, especially the rabbit with the teeth around the nightmare when we were just saying that. I'd love to know what's going on in that scene.
So from two artists that were all about finding the beauty in death and decay, this is on a much lighter note. So this will be interesting to those of us who are into cozy gaming as a way to wind down at the end of the day. So if we play, I wonder if I can talk over this video. That would be great if I could.
This one, Beck?
Yeah, please.
You got it.
I think there is some sound, but it's only music. So this is a game that's going to be released on the 9th of this month. It's called Botany Manor, and it's a first-person puzzle game set in a Victorian English manor. It's 1890, and you play as botanist Arabella Green, who is working to finish her botanical research book, Forgotten Flora. Explore a complete historical English manor and its grounds, researching how to grow rare plant specimens from seed. There are many rooms and gardens to discover, all set inside a beautiful countryside surrounding. The manor is filled with mysterious clues for you to discover, including books, posters, letters, and fascinating Victorian contraptions. The plants you grow are fantastical, but still inspired by real phenomena in nature, so some of them will require you to think outside the box. Using what's available to you in the manor, you must create the ideal conditions for each plant to thrive. Room by room, you learn more about the life and career of Arabella and the challenges she faced as a woman navigating her scientific career. Botany Manor is a relaxing and peaceful environment. And it says here, feel free to stop and smell the roses is their little tagline, which I really enjoy. So for anyone that just needs to unwind and enjoys gardening and plants and anything botanical, this just looks like such a wonderful game. I can't wait for it to come out.
Wow, this is great. Your voice is very soothing, so you kind of complement all of these links really well. Great, thank you, materials and pattern and graphics team. Appreciate all your inspirational contributions for the month, and we're going to segue over to our friends in content strategy and start with Anya.
Hi, everyone. I'm Anya, the Director of Content Strategy here at FS, and it's actually perfect that I'm following Beck and that last link of Botany Manor because my first link is about a woman who actually did that. So her name is Mary Delaney, and she created her art at the age of 72. She discovered this new type of artwork. She's credited as discovering these type of mosaics. So as you look at this video, it looks like a painting, but it's actually paper cuttings. She was sitting in a friend's kind of garden, and she saw the rose petal from a geranium next to a sheet of red paper, and she just began cutting everything into these really beautiful photorealistic paper cutouts and creating her artwork that actually ended up becoming something that other artists and historians have used to, and botanists to study the evolution of plants as well, because she created it so photorealistically that we've been able to learn a lot about how plants looked back in the 1700s and how plants in general have changed. So it's really stunning artwork. It's incredible when you see it up close and you see the slight cutouts. It's every single piece has been cut out individually. Everything has been so meticulously shaped into what you see. And I especially love that she started it at the age of 72. So it just goes to show you it's never too late, and you can kind of find your home and your niche whenever you have that moment. My next link is just additional resources if you want to look into further some of kind of her biography, things like that. So we don't need to click into it. But continuing this thread of artists and women especially, while we're talking a lot about natural history and how kind of everything is impacted by the natural world around us, I just also wanted to add in my own personal piece that I've been following throughout the years, which is this passion of hearing the untold voices and the stories, especially throughout history, of women that haven't been told. So a lot of my links go into people that we might not know about, especially women. And this is an Instagram account I really like by Katie Hessel. And she created this account called The Great Women Artists, and it just follows women in history and all of their artwork and kind of the voices that we didn't hear. She also wrote this incredible book called The History of Art Without Women. I highly recommend it. I read it both as a PDF, like the ebook, and the hard copy, and I recommend the hard copy over the Kindle version just because you get to see the artwork next to the biography. And it's just incredible because she goes into how those pieces are created and why sometimes their voices were hidden, especially in the earlier kind of centuries and millennia of pieces of why women weren't getting to tell their story and getting their artwork featured as much as men. So I highly, highly recommend checking her out. And her Instagram account is beautiful to also find other artists that can inspire you.
This is great. Much needed. Love this.
My next one is also a book. I'm a big reader, so if you ever need book recommendations, I'm always happy to throw any to anyone on any topic. But I just wanted to mention this book that has really inspired me by an author that I've read before and loved. The writer is called Tia Miles, and she wrote this book called Wild Girls. And it examines women throughout American history and how the outdoors shaped their experiences and shaped them, along with looking at her own personal experiences of growing up in Cincinnati and how she kind of looked at all these different things in the natural world. One of the stories that really resonated with me from that was about Harriet Tubman in this, who, as most of us know, was a really incredible woman who led, I think, over 70 enslaved people to freedom prior to the Civil War. And then during the Civil War was a spy and a scout for the Union Army. And the book really dives into how the natural world and and Harriet Tubman's understanding of nature around her allowed her to do these things and to help so many different people. The book also goes into other women in American history and how they kind of worked and lived in the natural world. So it's a really, really beautiful book by an author I recommend and really loved.
Wow, so great.
And then just my final link is a podcast. It's called Significant Others. And what's really fun about this podcast is that it's by Eliza Powell O'Brien, who's the wife of Conan O'Brien. And it's a podcast just looking at the significant others of famous people throughout history. So we focus so much on, the famous spouses. You have Benedict Arnold, but we don't really know a lot about his wife, Peggy Shippen, who actually helped shape and was kind of the person who pushed forward all of the betrayal and helped create all of that. So it's a really great podcast where you can listen to some lesser known people throughout history. And you also have the regular episode where you hear about their biography, but then there's also an episode following up with a little bit more analysis of the relationship. Either sometimes Conan O'Brien has joined her before. There's a lot of different people that join to discuss. So I just wanted to share this podcast where I really loved it. It's a great thing to listen to and hear more voices that we might not have heard throughout the past.
Wow, thanks, Anya, coming through with all the new media for us today. Thank you so much. All right, who's next? Isabel.
Hey, hello. Hi, everyone. It's so funny you say that, Anya, because I just saw a TikTok last night of how Liza and Conan met. So I think that's a great segue. But my first link here is this Instagram account that I have been obsessed with. It's called Merch Motel. And they highlight all this gorgeous old signage and architecture across the US. But what I really love about this account is they emphasize all of the signage and the architecture, which I think is a great point for Earth Month, kind of preserving what we have and not always having to make these updates to modernize. And yes, while a lot of these maybe are not still around, but a lot of them are, I think it's really great that they're getting this recognition now. And a lot of younger generations are looking into this. I'm seeing these a lot for the first time. So it's really cool to see that. I think the new one up front is the Burger King signage, which is just crazy to see that. I think they said that the ones behind, the Arby's is still there and the Pizza Hut's still there, but not the other ones. But I think Lana Del Rey has used one of the hotels featured here in one of her music videos. So it's great that they're getting this recognition. But hence the name of the account. They also partner with a lot of the locations they feature to do merchandise. So it's all this vintage inspired merchandise that you can get. And then on top of that, they have maps that you can kind of obtain, and you can go on a road trip and see these across the US. So I think it's a great way to kind of look into this more. But my next link,
By the way, I just wanted to.
the Toys R Us. I know the Toys R Us is great.
I brought this one up intentionally because I saw it earlier this week, and this is for filming for probably the Michael Jackson movie.
Yeah.
But I mean, come on, everyone has like super early memories of like their Toys R Us growing up in the 80s or 90s. So
I know it's amazing to see all of that. But my next link, so something that I've always been kind of interested in is the ocean just in general. I think more so how much we really don't know about it, what's still hidden, underneath the surface, and kind of there's so much that we need to know more about. But I was fascinated by this New York Times article about how now is a golden age for shipwreck discoveries. And so a lot of it is due to climate change and harsher storms bringing these shipwrecks to the surface and having them wash on shore. but a lot of it is also the technology and more interest in general, which I think is great. One of the underwater archaeologists that they interviewed said, "We're in a transitional phase where the true period of deep sea and ocean exploration in general is truly beginning." So a lot of factors play into this, especially with technology. Now there are robots that can scan the ocean floor deeper and for a longer amount of time than ever before. But like I said previously, there's a lot more interest in this as well. A lot of private research groups have increased funding here, helping scan the ocean floor, but also helping these scientists around the world move closer to the goal of mapping the entire seabed by 2030.
Mm.
And I thought it was really cool to note that the field of underwater archaeology has expanded, and there's exponentially more people researching this field than there were 50 years ago. So I think this is a really exciting space to watch in terms of what people might find and kind of what will be uncovered as time goes on.
So fascinating. I'm sorry if I missed it, if you said it, but it's interesting that so much of the turbulent weather factors that we have
Yeah,
are actually churning up the seas, and a lot of things are kind of coming up to the surface
I
again.
know, it's crazy. You don't even have to look that hard. It just
Oh,
comes
yeah,
right up to
for
you.
sure.
But my last link is this Instagram account that I have been obsessed with for a very, very long time. But hence the title, it's Recycled Movie Costumes.
Hmm.
And I love this account. I love like a period film. So a lot of the things they feature here are from period films. But it's amazing to see how all of these costumes have been kept. And like I've seen a post where something was from the 80s and then it was just used in a show last year. So it's fascinating to see, how these are restored or how they're styled differently. They have a lot of accessories as well. And it's really great to see that people use them in different ways, or, if it's the same type of period, like a Tudor style, they use that in the same way. So really a great account to follow if that's something that you're into.
How
But yeah,
fascinating.
that's,
I'm
yeah,
loving the renewal and sustainability theme carrying across everyone's links today.
I love it too. I know it's been great to look into for sure.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that. All right, and then I think we have time for a couple of my links. I just wanted to include. First one isn't really a lot to show, but I wanted to bring this back to the forefront again. And I know this concept isn't necessarily new to a lot of people, especially since COVID in 2020. But I bring it up for a reason. And Gen Z especially has been having a lot of fun kind of throwing these PowerPoint parties, like I said, since 2020. But the reason why I brought it up is because internally talking with our team with Pitch Day, and also just kind of crafting our design aesthetics for next season. One thing that's kind of come up time and time again is this kind of romanticized version of like the Monday through Friday workday that so many of us don't necessarily have anymore because so many of us work remotely. And so, things like the kinds of clothes getting ready for the day that we used to wear to the office. But this is definitely part of that too, just because so many people aren't doing presentations and crafting things. And it's really funny to think that this is actually fun for a lot of people, because for so many, it's such a chore. But just looking on like TikTok alone, there are over 40 million views using these kind of PowerPoint party hashtags. But what's really cool is just reading through this article and actually seeing the kinds of topics that people are using for their PowerPoint parties. And a lot of times it's getting to know what your friends' niche interests are, secret pastimes, hilarious takes on like other friends' quirks and strengths, which I really think is really funny. But I just think it's really great how everyone is kind of using this. One that I just saw last week was someone did a PowerPoint party where everyone kind of presented a presentation on what they really do in their profession, because so many times people really have no idea what their friends actually do Monday through Friday. And so I thought that was really great as well. But you can kind of read through and see what all the various topics are. But just seeing that this is kind of taking hold in the zeitgeist again was really interesting, just kind of layering it back on romanticizing those workday activities and routines that so many people don't do anymore. And then in keeping, I'm going to skip the second link for a second, but in keeping with this sustainability theme, this is something that I've really wanted to share for a long time. And I'm sure many of you are familiar with this brand, Stan, really big in the menswear world. This is just his Instagram page, but I'm actually going to play a couple of things for you for a second. You can kind of see his whole mantra: story, sustainability, surf. But I just want to read you really quickly. His name is Tristan Detweiler, by the way, and he's the founder of the brand. And I want to read you what his whole influence and inspiration is if you go to the website before I show you a couple things. He says, "I am a craftsman by trade. My medium is dirt-stained remnants of tattered, worn textiles ingrained with stories of hand-woven fibers. There is history awaiting discovery, buried in the deepest corners of the world, a medium that allows me to peer into faraway culture, ritual, religion, and family heritage. I live in the perpetual search for such things, stories relayed from the past, translated through centuries. The goal of my brand is to recontextualize stories into clothing and allow long lost memories to live on." So I'm going to just play a couple of his reels for you so you can kind of see what he does. I've used a couple of his pieces in our own internal pitch day. You don't need the sound, so don't worry. But this is a 19th century European handmade lace and cutwork featuring roosters and dancing men. So his whole kind of process here, it's kind of lagging for some reason, is he first lays out the fabric for you and you can kind of see it. He hangs this one up and you'll get a close-up of it. It's so beautiful. Again, I'm not really sure why Instagram is going slow for me here, but he then works this into a garment. So this particular one was this absolutely beautiful jacket. He'll show you close-ups of the buttons that he uses. I'm going to move on to another one and see if I get a better one. But what's so cool about it is that there's quilted fabrics, there's lace. This particular other one that I want to show you was a friendship quilt from 1860 that was actually used for a wedding, which I thought was just really beautiful. So here's the interesting thing. I want to just play devil's advocate. You'll read through the comments and you'll see this first person. And so many people complain and they're like, "Oh my God, why are you destroying that quilt? Why are you destroying that beautiful antique lace?" And this is fabrics that, would have just remained, in a chest somewhere, never to be seen again. And he's actually taking them and making them into these beautiful garments. And they're getting a whole second life. But you can actually see so many people comment through and say, "You ruined a nice antique quilt. Good job." Like, it's really funny to see how many people are hating on this process. But everything he creates is completely sustainable. And I just think it's really stunning. And I love his work. And you can kind of scroll through and see he was featured in the big Met exhibit that they did last year. He was actually featured in one of those exhibits. He's been featured at New York Fashion Week and the Men's Day that we all attend every season. But love his work, and you should definitely follow his account and just see all the stuff that he actually does. It's really, really cool. And before we wrap up today, I'm actually gonna turn it over to Gigi, who's on our client engagement team, and she's just gonna close it out for us today.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Michael and team. It's an awesome way to kick off April. And I have all these notes, even though we say we don't have to take notes. It's like so many new Instagram accounts to follow. We are here in just really wanting to engage with both our clients and also for those of you who aren't with us yet. We'd love to hear from you. We are wanting to support you beyond these webinars, and the best way to do that is to know, what do you need? So very simple, in hello@fashionsnoops.com. We're here for you. We're doing a lot of great advisory things off to the side. If we know what your issues are, not even issues, but what are you struggling with? Because we are here to partner with you. So thank you again. Happy spring, everybody, and to be continued.
Thank you, Gigi. We're here for you. We're your team. Thanks, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful first month of spring, and we will see you back here the first Wednesday in May. Take care. Bye, everyone.